I think I was maybe confusing you a little bit. My personal beauty standard is my personal beauty standard, and that is
but
not.
Where does it informed from?
My family members, the girls that I admire, things that make me feel good and feel confident. The way that when I look in the mirror and I tell myself in the morning that I'm beautiful, and I actually agree with it. Like I said, I have dealt with a lot of body and face issues in my physicality my whole life. Like, I know some girls might not, like, they might look at me and not believe that, but now I know objectively, like, I can have a better standpoint with it. But I guess the point that I'm trying to make is that my own beauty standard is my own beauty standard. The things that I find attractive are not always the things that my friends find attractive. And like maybe that even goes into dating. Like the kind of guys or girls that I date, my friends will look at me and be like, really? Like that sort of thing where, subjective opinion is subjective opinion. And so that
there seems to be universals, right? There seems to be some pretty agreed upon universals. And it makes sense.
Exactly. The agreed upon universals is that men usually like girls who look a little bit younger because they always say that youth is a virtue and all that stuff. So
I think it's just a matter of reproduction. So the idea is like, you might scoff, but hear me out for a second. From an evolutionary standpoint, you agree that the primary edict is reproduction, right? That is the primary edict. And so it would make sense why biological beings would be attracted to those who are the most fertile.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, sure. But I just don't think that applies to me specifically. I think that it is very true that there isn't...
The acceptance?
I don't know if I said that I'm accepting, but I'm going to say that I don't think that applies to me and what my values are. I'm not going to settle down with somebody who is worried about my biological clock ticking. That's just not happening.
No, it's not that they're worried about the No. You're conflating two different things.
Okay.
Right? So hear what I'm saying here.
Sure.
I'm not saying that men are basing you on your biological clock. I'm talking about attraction, the idea of attraction. It would make sense that men are attracted to women who are fertile for the purpose of reproduction. They don't know why they're attracted to them. Like, they don't know that it's because they're fertile and that's why they're attracted to youth, right? How would they know that? They're not psychoanalyzing it. They just look at a woman and go, beautiful, not beautiful. But the reason that they're saying beautiful, not beautiful, and the reason they have a universal attraction is because of reproduction.
So I have
Obviously,
a question.
A biological being is going to be attracted to the thing that they can reproduce with, right? Like every biological being, that makes sense. Right?
Absolutely, yeah. And that's the same way I would choose a partner who is ideally sound of mind, but also sound of body and health as well.
Yeah.
I do have a question for you, though, is that what age do you think is the best age for a woman to have a child?
I think between 18 and 24 seems to be optimal.
I just want to really quick.
But hang on.
No, sorry, yeah,
but
completely.
Clear up until 28, 29.
Okay.
Seems to be pretty fine. I think that around the 30s, it's usually pretty bad. It starts to decrease exponentially.
Okay.
And by the 40s, generally not a good idea even.
Okay. That's really sweet. So my mother had me when she was 36 years old. When I was born, she was 37. She had my brother 2 years later. So do you think, and we came out perfectly fine. I'm perfectly healthy. I have no allergies. Sure. I like the way that I look. And she is, again, she's now 57 and she looks fucking amazing. She has literally
Well, I'm glad you were born and that she had you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But I'm just saying that I think that and so my father still loves the shit out of her. Like, I literally have never seen a man more in love with a woman in my life. And I'm very grateful because I know that not everybody gets to experience that. I'm very, very aware that not everyone has that kind of love in their household. But I do think that when I am searching for a partner, I'm searching for somebody who has those qualities that my dad has, where my mother is 36, which is apparently at your definition, out of the range of prime breeding, right? But he still looks at her and he still wanted to create children with her and have a marriage, and they still love each other.
I wish you kind of wouldn't mischaracterize what I say, right? Because I'm trying to be very precise.
And I'm trying to be respectful as well.
I'm just talking to you about what is optimal. I'm not saying that women in their 40s shouldn't have children.
Okay.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that optimally, it seems like it's a better idea for them to have them in their 20s.
Well, I think that if you can't have children, you shouldn't be the one deciding when they should have them.
I just want to hear this so I know.
Yeah.
Do you understand the distinction when I say, I'm not saying that there's a problem with women in their 40s having children. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying it's for every woman on planet Earth, it's generally optimal for them to have them in their 20s.
Biologically.
Biologically, absolutely, but I think that
Yeah.
mentally, I would not have been sound. I still don't think I'm sound to have a child. I think that I have a lot of things to work on. I think that ideally, if my life goes the way that I want it to, if I wish upon a star, I will be married and have children by the time that I'm 29, 32 range is when I want to start doing that.
I mean,
However,
the
if it happens
age
later,
of
then
marriage
fine,
isn't-
because I'm not in a rush. But I'm not gonna I want to search for if I do end up with a guy, I'm gonna end up with a guy who is like my father in that aspect, where he looked at my mother and he thought, okay, she's beautiful, but also she's intelligent, and also she's funny, and also she it would be a good mother, and there's all these other qualities.
I'm not sure why any of that is excluded by age.
But that's kind of what, but you're talking about attractiveness, and that's what I'm saying. And attractiveness is not even the only quality that you should be measuring about men finding you attractive.
Yeah, I think that attractiveness by your own metric earlier, you said it's highly important. And perhaps even we could agree it could be the most important category, not to negate all other categories. But perhaps the most important category, I think, is attractiveness.
Okay.
That you're attracted to the other person.
I hear you,
But
and I get
attractiveness
that.
isn't just about looks. It's about the whole
There's
personality.
pheromones involved. I've dated some ugly men, man. I'll tell you that right now.
There's no
Yeah.
dispute that there's 80 gazillion, jillion different characteristics other than beauty and attractiveness, which are important in a relationship.
Yeah.
No dispute. Nobody's disputing that. All I'm doing is giving it a hierarchy of prioritization. Right?
Absolutely. I don't think I'm going to have a hard time finding a partner. I don't think that that's going to be an issue for me. I think that if anything, I have been hit on my whole life, and frankly, it's a little bit unsatisfying when someone comes up to me and tells me I'm beautiful. I'm like, okay, cool, I already know that. Tell me something else about me, because that's just not as important to me. When you have it oversaturated to you, when you're being told that you're pretty, that you're hot, that you're sexy your whole life, it doesn't matter as much to you, because you're like, okay, cool, what else? So that's just I'm totally hearing you, and that's why I'm glad we can have this open conversation about this, because I think it is important for a lot of people to talk about. But I think it's also important that a lot of women don't think that their value declines as they get older, because that's simply not true. Yes, you might not be as physically attractive as you are in your prime time, but your value as a human being does not decline.
Your value as a human being
Thank you for
doesn't
saying
decline.
that.
Thank you.
No, hang on. Your value as a human being doesn't decline. Nobody's
Exactly.
saying that. But your value as a fertile woman does decline.
Yeah.
And
Green eggs and ham right here, honey.
Cheers
Green
to
eggs
that,
and ham.
baby. Cheers to that.
Green eggs and ham right here.
Attractiveness,
Cheers.
If attractiveness
Every
is
month I hope it's
based
the last one.
around the idea of fertility, and it has to be. It has to be, or the human species would not be able to thrive. There's no way around that. It has to be based around
You're
the idea
so
of fertility.
right.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah. Yeah, babe. Correct.
Great argument.
Yeah, no, I don't think that was an argument. I think that was a very effective and
no
respectful conversation. I was not in any way trying to put you down. I'm just stating my opinion versus yours, and then we're doing facts.
That
and no
was
facts.
good.
And I appreciate you for involving me in that dialogue. So thank you.
Yeah, but can I get an actual argument here?
I know, huh? Sorry, I don't start fights. I just like to be kind.
It's not a fight.
Yeah.
Let's
start a fight.
Counter argument.
Oh man. So yeah.
We have a couple chats
Do
coming
you
in
think
here.
that argument means fight?
No, I think the argument means discussion, but sometimes arguments turn into fights. But also, you said
agree.
fight, didn't you?
No, I didn't. No. I said it's not a fight. I'm just looking for a counter argument. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought that I gave you a pretty good one, but maybe not.
Yeah.
You did good.
I said agree because I didn't want to keep talking about it, frankly.
Real Women Don't Off donated $200.
Yeah, thank
It's
you.
sad seeing this future generation of low-value women with not one coherent answer or point so far. ESP 1 and 5. Please slide the mics away from 1 and 5. We can feel the saliva flying from here. 20.
All right. Thank you for the TTS, man. Appreciate it. And then we do have Lucas coming in here in just a moment. Thank you, Real Women. Lucas, thank you. Youth and beauty, markers of fertility and good genes. Beauty is objective, not subjective. Some variability. It's based on symmetry and the golden ratio, 1.6 to 1 by 35 average, by age 35 average. 90% of eggs are not viable.
Lucas, I hope your mom does not like you.
That seems like a bit aggressive.
That's mean. What did he?
Well, 'cause, like, what the heck, man?
He's making a very sound. He's making a very sound.
If 90% of eggs aren't viable, how did my mom have 2 children with no complications? That makes no sense.
He's not making a sound
Yeah,
argument.
is 90%
He's
100%?
saying-
Wait. Is 90% 100%?
So you're saying that the
Hold
2
on.
times she
is
tried.
90% 100%?
You're the 10%.
Okay, cool.
Mama.
So 2 times the 10% one, really? Like, I don't know.
I think
about
all of
that.
us were part of the 10%.
Do you know that
is what he's
10%
saying.
is a lot? Like when you.
But
think
also,
about
yeah. Sorry, no, go.
it,
Yeah.
hang on, yeah,
Yeah,
when you
imagine
think
the
about it,
sperm
right?
percentage.
10% of 1,000's 100. Like it's a lot. It's more than you think. Right?
Okay.
So if you have 1,000 people, if you're like, well, only 10% of that unit died, and there was 1,000 people inside of a military unit, you'd be like, that's a fucking bloodbath, right? It's actually a really, really large number when you scale it. All he's looking at is he's just saying there's universals here, and if we're looking at universals which are widely agreed upon, these seem to be them.
Okay, sure. Absolutely. I think that, I mean, again, going back to how we were talking about earlier, the I think versus this is true, like the statement versus opinion. My opinion is that beauty is not objective. But that's also just my opinion. So maybe you don't agree with me, and that's completely okay, because if you want to have your opinion on it, that's fine. I think that the people that I'm attracted to are not always what my friends are attracted to. Like, that's just what I'm saying about it.
Yeah.
Wait, Andrew, I know we had this conversation. Like, is beauty objective to some degree?
To some degree, absolutely. There's a golden ratio.
Andrew?
Objective.
Sorry, I'm not Andrew.
Yeah, now she
No.
agrees there's a golden ratio. There's going to be, so the only way to do this right, and I would largely agree that there's a subjective category here, and the subjective category may be higher than the objective category. But there's clearly universals, and there has to be universals for the reasons that I stated, right? The human species could not procreate if all human beings were attracted to 80-year-olds, for instance. If they were never attracted to 20-year-olds and they were only attracted to 80-year-olds, there's no babies, right? So of course it makes sense that they're going to be attracted to 20-year-olds, right? That makes total sense. Like there's no way around that. So if that is also the case, that part of this is the fertility, and it has to be, then of course there's going to be ratios that would be good indicators for fertility. Of course there is.
I have a
There's going to be
question.
like wide hips, or there's going to be this shape, or there's going to be health metrics, things like this. And I would say all of those would go into some kind of objective metric. But when you're asking about preference, that's where we get it conflated, Brian, is in preference. When we're talking about, well, what does a person prefer inside of those metrics? So perhaps you can agree health is a really good standard. And everybody agrees that's a universal value. You have to be healthy or I'm not attracted to you. Let's say 99% of people agree that that's true. But inside of that value, there's still a preference. And the preference is saying, but based on this, I don't find them healthy enough, or this isn't what I consider to be good health. That's where the subjective value comes in.
Okay. No, I agree with that.
I mean, I was just answering Brian's question, not trying to give you a lecture.
Yeah. So wait, do you think it's subjective, objective?
Well, I think that everything that Andrew just said is absolutely correct. I think that there is definitely standards of beauty. I think that there is definitely a golden ratio. But I do also want to bring up the point that, like, because that there's even a conversation about what is beautiful and not beautiful goes to show that there's people who are not beautiful in this world. So how did those people come to be here? Did they just spawn? No, they were made because 2 people who were not beautiful made a child together.
That's not even
And they're-
necessarily true.
But yes, it is. But yes, it is. How did these people get to be here then? If those
2
people,
really good-looking people can have a really ugly kid.
I know, but that's not the point. The point is that people will procreate together if there is a shared love there.